So today we're going to be talking about consecutive integers. So let's just do a quick vocab check to make sure that we are all on the same page. So what does consecutive mean? Basically it just means in a row, or one right after the other. And what's an integer? If we go back to pre-algebra, we talked about what an integer is, and it is a positive or negative whole number. So things like 5, 9, -3. So no decimals or fractions. So what are three consecutive integers starting with the number 5? So we start with 5. Consecutive just means next one in a row. So 6 is our second one, and our third one would be 7. 5, 6, 7. Those are three consecutive integers. So if I wanted to represent 5 with a variable x, how would I represent the number 6? 5 is x, and to get from 5 to 6, we need to add 1. So 6 would be represented as x plus 1. So how would I do number 7? X is 5. To get from 5 to 7, we have to add 2. So 7 is just x plus 2. So if I told you that the sum of three consecutive integers equals 30, how would we find those integers? Well, first we have to look at the keyword sum, which means we're adding. So we have x for our first integer because we don't know what it is. We're adding, so plus. Our next integer, because we know it's in a row, is going to be x plus 1. Plus our third consecutive integer is x plus 2. And our problem tells us that they equal 30. So we make that equal to 30. So we need to combine our like terms, and we get 3x plus 3 equals 30. How can we get x by itself? First we subtract 3, and we get 3x equals 27. Last, we divide by 3, and we get x equals 9. So if x equals 9, that means our first consecutive integer is 9. So our three consecutive integers would be 9, 10, and then 11. And you can double check by adding those together. 9 plus 10 is 19, plus 11 is 30, which is equal to what we said in our problem. So if we go back to the number 5, what are three consecutive odd integers starting with the number 5? We start with 5. Now we can't do 6 next because it's not odd, it's even. So we go 5, 7, 9. So if I'm representing 5 with x again, how would I represent 7? Just like before, x plus 2. And how would I represent 9? Well, if x is 5, to go from 5 to 9, we need to add 4. So 9 would be x plus 4. So if I told you that the sum of three consecutive odd integers equals 75, how would we find those integers? We're going to set it up just like we did in our problem before. Sum means we're adding, so we have x is our first integer. We don't know what it is yet, so we just use x, plus x plus 2 for our next odd integer, plus x plus 4 is equal to 75. Now you don't need to write the parentheses. I just do so that I can differentiate easily between, I can look at it and see that there's three specific integers that I'm solving for, but you do not have to write out the parentheses. It just makes it easier for me. So if we combine our like terms, we get 3x plus 6 equals 75. To solve for x, we subtract 6 from both sides, and we get 3x equals 69. Now we're going to divide by 3 on both sides. We get x equals 23. X equals 23, that tells us that that's our first odd integer. So our three consecutive odd integers are going to be 23, 25, and 27. So we're actually looking for all three integers for our answer. We're not just solving for x. Now let's take a look at the back of the page. And we're going to find out if even numbers are any different. So what are three consecutive even numbers starting with the number 10? If we've got 10, we can't say 11 next because it's odd. So we go with 12 and then 14. So this time if we're representing 10 with x, how would we represent 12? Well, that's going to be x plus 2 because we have to add 2 to 10 to get 12. 14 would be x plus 4. So very similar to our odd integers. So now I'm going to ask you for three consecutive even integers that equal 48. We're going to set up our problem the same way. We have our first integer, x, because we don't know, plus our second, and because it's even, we do x plus 2, plus x plus 4. This is equal to 48. So we combine our like terms, and we get 3x plus 6 equals 48. Now to solve for x, we subtract 6. We get 3x equals 42. So if we have 3x equals 42, I'm just rewriting it over here because it's a little bit bigger. To get x all by itself, we divide by 3. We get x equals 14. And that just tells us that our first even integer is 14. So our three consecutive ones are going to be 14, 16, and 18. All right, these last three problems, I'm going to have you practice on your own and bring into class tomorrow.